Welcome to Laundry. Thanks for tuning in. I am here with the wonderful Dan Thorpe.
Hey, buddy. Hey, guys.
All the way from across the world.
It's 2 a.m., listeners. It's 2 a.m.
It is 2 a.m.
It is 2 a.m. I just played a set and it was awesome.
Yes.
It was so much fun.
And you're about to see it right now.
pictures of dogs to strangers. No one sends any back. Windows fogged up. Can't see inside. What am I doing between tabs I'm not looking at? Another day, another empty mailbox. No, we don't want to subscribe to your newsletter. No, we are happy with our bandwidth. No, we don't care about your coupons. No, this letter isn't meant for us. Been waiting outside way too long. Yes, it's exactly what it looks like. More one train approaching. Walk down the streets in pajamas. Will people even look? They glance and mutter. They really do need to subscribe. Looks like their bandwidth is low. Probably uses coupons. Walking on the footpaths. Broken rubbish bag. Empty milk bottles rolling into gutters. Think of picking them up. We don't. Look at the bus drive past. Everyone waiting. I can use this. Open a store. Sell my ideas. Watches don't tell the time. Coffee tastes like water. Inbuilt spelling mistake maker. Automatic Facebook liker. App that answers the door. Service that compares all the dogs in your area. White noise dream catcher. If I tackled a police officer, would people stop me? Or will the police officer step aside? Consider this while waiting for a coffee. Consider this while you exit the train station. Consider that police officer didn't look at you. I walked into traffic and all the cars stopped politely. The drivers weren't watching me. If you were waiting for me, I'm sorry about that. It must be the water. Can I get a drink? I'll look at a sad picture and not feel the need to cry until someone says, wow, that made me cry a lot. We'll walk to the bank, take all our money, throw it on the road, watch cars drive over it, pick it up and deposit it again. Don't worry about it. Honestly, I'll make sure to stand up straighter and meet up with friends. We'll be the friendliest people on our end of the street, in our complex, in our combined bank account, linked to our insurance company. Bury my face in funny videos, don't want to know anymore. Turn the volume down here so I won't be noticed. Give up sleeping, stay up every day. Everything feels blue, we won't be photographed.
My name's Dan Thorpe. I'm from Adelaide, Australia. I'm a pianist composer. I kind of badly play other instruments too because that can actually be more fun than playing them well. Actually, generally it is more fun than playing them well, sonically. I guess, yeah, I'm over here in California playing a bunch of shows. I just finished touring a work of mine to the San Diego Fringe, collaborative work with some dancers from back home. And I've played some shows so far at the Centre for New Music and Outsound and Third Space in Davis. I have one more show left. Oakland Freedom Jazz, 25th. It's cheap.
You should go.
You should go.
Or if you did go, awesome.
Yeah, woo. Thank you for coming to my show. I really appreciate it. I'm having a blast. What a lovely city. Yeah, I went to Davis, which is where I met little buddy here.
Yes.
And yeah, it's kind of such a pleasure to be on this. I love laundry. So hi guys.
Well, thank you for coming on. Yeah, so you did a lot of different things for every show, right?
Yeah, pretty much actually.
Can you walk, cuz one was with dancers and then others you did different. Do you want to explain why or what you did?
Yeah, sure. I mean everyone likes to mix it up. I'm one of those people who kind of has way too much going on all at once. But kind of like as a matter of survival, I kind of get super bored and like stop playing things properly after a certain amount of time if I don't get to mix things up, which is kind of silly. But hey, sharks, they can't swim backwards. That doesn't make it's 2 a.m. Okay. So it was really fun. So the dance work I was touring, I worked with these dancers. We're kind of a little collective. We're called Concrete Collective, which is kind of fun. And
did they come all the way here too?
Yeah, they're Australian.
Okay.
They're Australian as well. And it's a work we started making in at the beginning of 2015, end of 2014. And we performed a few times in Australia. So it was our first time out to the US as a group, which was incredibly fun. San Diego is a really beautiful city. And the San Diego Fringe is excellent. If you're ever in San Diego at Fringe time, go to the Fringe. It's fantastic. But I've also been touring an LP release. So I self-released an LP in April called Homecoming 3 years later. I played a track from it actually in this. The fourth piece I played was the title track from that, Homecoming 3 years later. So yeah, that's been fantastic actually. I've had a really good time. It's a complex album about grief and loss and moving on and healing. And weirdly, playing it a bunch of times has helped as much as making the album helped. So that's been fantastic. Really enjoyed playing that to people. Then I've done some improv shows and I've done some sort of more, I guess, recital-y stuff as well, which you heard a bit of my program tonight. So you just heard Horizonte by Missy Mazzoli, who's an excellent New York-based composer. I cannot recommend her work enough. She's super cool. Then 3 pieces by me. The first one was called Consider It, and it's actually part of the dance work I was touring. The text is by Australian poet Rhys Nixon. It's really beautiful. I really love his work. He has a book out, and you should go read it. Rhys Nixon. It's called It's No Big Deal, I Don't Mind. The third piece was title track from Homecoming, and the last piece was Mad Rush by Philip Glass, who I guess requires no introduction. Yeah.
If you don't know Philip Glass, maybe you can check
do a Google. It's really good,
amazing.
really important music that is incredibly fun to play.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I got this really weird review in Australia. I was
really?
Yeah, where it was Fringe time and there's kind of this, I guess it's not a joke, it's kind of sad, but we have the second biggest Fringe festival in the world in Adelaide, and the newspapers kind of give up and give anyone who wants to write the job of reviewing. So I had this reviewer who described me playing Glass as me knowing how to belt out a thumper, and that's I kind of want it tattooed on me. Thorpe knows how to belt out a thumper. I loved that. I was like, mate, it's 2016. We say drop a banger. So that was
and to describe Glass.
Yeah, as a thumper. I loved it. It was the best.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So you released an LP.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. If anyone out there cares to listen, please do. Let's talk more about that. Like, what was the process of creating it, and where did you get the sounds, and why did you decide to do it the way you did?
Yeah, sure. So one of my best friends died really suddenly last year. He was Californian, so I kind of rushed out here. I'd actually just gotten off a plane from Europe like 2 days earlier, and I had this gig in Sydney, and for some reason I was working with fluorescent lights in a piece. I couldn't fly to Sydney, so I had to drive for 2 days across the country with a car full of slightly toxic fluorescent lights and random musical equipment, get on a plane. I was in California for a week and a half, and then I landed at 7 a.m. and my rehearsal started at 8:30.
Oh my goodness.
So it was kind of this mega rough, mad rush. But like I was really glad I made it to a funeral, and you know, when you're in a state of shock like that, I don't know what you guys are like when you're sad, but I need to do something. Like I actually physically need to do something, or I go a little crazy. And, you know, as a sound artist, if I want something to do with my hands, then obviously a microphone is a good thing to hold. So I started recording things. I mean, I actually, like, field recording was a big part of my practice before, but not to the same extent. But it became really important for me to stop and listen. And yeah, I'd also kind of foolishly been sucked into an airline sale at the start of the year and bought these super cheap flights to New Zealand really soon after I come back from California, when all I actually wanted to do was lie in my bed and cry. But like I got to New Zealand, and the trip kind of went to shit, but it went to shit in the best way, because it ended up with me being alone in the most isolated part of New Zealand with nothing but a field recorder and some really cheap mac and cheese packets. And like I ended up exploring, like going trail running, and just generally just actually having time to myself to like grieve and recover. So the album is like a whole bunch of field recordings. Partly New Zealand, partly California. And it's kind of interesting. Like, you know, New Zealand is such a weird place. I was saying to Leanne before, you know, because Leanne was just saying, like, the favorite track on the album of theirs is, like, one of the untitled ones. And there's this, like, really bizarre sort of, like, looping guitar figure and these weird sounds. And it's literally just Central Christchurch in New Zealand, which was, like, you know, like, seriously, like, demolished by an earthquake. And it's kind of like weird and abandoned, but there's this real sense that people were trying to rebuild and trying to repopulate. And I don't know, there was just something about being on this completely deserted high street with my microphone and then turning a corner and this dude just busking that just really kind of floored me. And yeah, I'm really glad that tracked with you, because that was, that was really big. And then, there's this funny little sound, which, you thought was a synth. And it's actually the sound Crosswalks make in Australia. But yeah, it was fun. I liked that. And it was important to the album, I think. This sort of perpetual thing of like trying to rebuild and trying to make something from nothing again.
It's beautiful, that track, for me at least. But you can decide for yourself, whoever's listening, once you listen to the LP.
I like all of it.
What I found like really interesting was like when you played at Center for New Music, you played through the whole entire LP from beginning to end. And you managed to be able to recreate the emotion that you put into the sounds live, which I feel is really, really hard to do. Yeah,
I mean, I think, you know, performing live is, I love the studio. I adore the studio. I think that the experience you can create for a listener in a studio is really next to none. I think it's something, but live is different. You can, you know, like something that really bothered me, something that kind of stopped me from sort of going full classical musician is this tendency in classical performance to actually... I just feel like so many classical musicians don't get performing. No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right? Like the whole wearing black channel Mozart scene. But then on the other end of the scale, like, I just God, am I going to get dragged for this? I hate Lang Lang. I don't hate Lang Lang. I just like this sort of like over sentimental, like other end where it's so fake and so overwrought, and you're like, you can feel real things from music actually. And I write music that makes me feel real things, and that's really hard. Like it's like not as in hard to write, it's hard to experience as a performer. Like it's hard to put yourself back through that every time. But that's part of coming to terms with things. And if you like music isn't always therapy, and that music certainly isn't therapy anymore for me, but it was for a long time. And so much of how I perform that album is a communication to people about how I came to terms with it, how I came back to terms with being alive and being in my body. And that's hard, big stuff to communicate, but it's stuff that needs to be talked about. We need to talk about that stuff, and I feel a real urge to do that. So, I mean, I think that's why I think it has a different energy to the recording, but you're right in the sense that like there's a real emotion behind it, and that emotion is like me feeling really strongly about wanting to talk to people earnestly about big things when I play. And I mean, my favorite part of that set is singing unamplified over recordings of myself, sort of completely drowned out, because I just I love that. I love doing that every single time. Come and see me play live. It's great.
Hey.
No. Yeah.
Do you feel like you process more of like what you went through during the album with each live performance? Because it's different every time.
It is different every time. I mean, one of the beautiful things about making music that's like mostly improvised is that I have so much license.
Yeah.
To do that, so much license. I feel like for me, playing piano is all about touch. So, like, the sound thing is nice, but it's all about touch. And I think what I learn with every performance of that piece is, like, something about the instrument that's beneath my hands and, like, what I can actually feel through the sensation of, like, touching that instrument and playing that instrument. And, like, I think that's more... especially when you're like, because I prepare pianos, especially when you're dealing with unpredictable instruments that you've modified, I think that teaches you a lot about how you play and who you are when you play. So I think that's what has become about me, is kind of learning more about how I fit with the piano.
I see. Why the piano, I guess, simply?
Yeah. I mean, technically, the boring answer is it's the instrument I'm trained on.
Okay.
The less boring answer... Well, I mean, okay, the thing with pianos is that, in theory, they are perfectly uniform and work all in the exact same way. And they're very neat and they're all work. And, God, that's boring. And, like, I don't know, like, it's, I'm a queer artist, and a big part of what I want to do is fuck with people's expectations of things being the same. And pianos are such good, because in many ways they are the most physical, most bodily, ridiculous things. Like, pianos can be so queer. Like, I mean, Oliveros does it with accordions, right?
Yeah.
Like, like what she does with accordions is, I think, you can do with a piano. Like, you can, like, pianos, your touch starts at your fingertips, and you can pretty much articulate levels of force all the way down to your abs. And like, it's so funny because people kind of, especially like a lot of men write for the piano, like it's some sort of giant note machine. And it's like, no, it's not. It's a giant hitting machine. Like, like it's a giant machine I hit. And like, that's cool, like, and I love that about the piano. I love that it's this very posh, very bourgeois, like sort of like note machine that I can fuck, like that I can totally fuck with, there was this, I went to a conservatory, regrettably, and there was this teacher who said to me, Daniel, you must roll your sleeves down when you play the piano. It's a very formal instrument. Oh. And I said, God, I play in my boxers all the time. Like, what am I meant to do about that? He wasn't impressed. It was pretty good. So I don't know. I love that about the piano. Yeah. I mean, there's things I love about all the instruments I play. I love playing woodwinds because I love having this connection to breath, and like, I played this show where the composer's instruction was trill for 2.5 minutes, and I was like, I was like, right, fuck it, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I did. I circular breathed all the way through, but I'm not very good at circular breathing. So I went purple, and I kind of started swaying a little bit. And my mum was in the audience, and she was like, I was worried. So I love that about woodwinds. I love that when I play cello, I sweat like a pig, and like I generally look really disgusting and dramatic, and I feel like Jacqueline Dupree, and yeah, it's great. Like no, but like even though I'm total trash at cello, but it's fun to like shred on. Actually, it's more fun than playing guitar. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So much more fun than playing
Yes.
guitar. That's my lesson by far. Buy a $100 eBay cello like I did. It is more fun than playing guitar.
I feel like a lot of people like cello. It's one of those charismatic instruments.
Yeah, I know, but you've got to, if you play it like a total like brute.
Like
and
this
you
cello that
well,
you
and
had.
like Christine,
Yeah.
like, you know, like our good friend Christine Riches, like the way she plays cello is not, you
Not
know,
your
that
typical.
is not like charismatic, romantic,
No.
like man pain. Like it's like, yeah, it's good. It's shreddy. That's what I want.
Woodwinds. Were you ever trained on woodwinds?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Okay.
I learned to play clarinet when I moved to America because I wanted to join marching band because it looked fun. I was
Yay.
correct. It was very fun. So I started playing clarinet really badly and kind of boozily.
I was
Then-
just seeing if like you had a connection between like breathing in your music, because
yeah,
you have a lot of samples of you breathing,
yeah, that's
and
true.
also during your performances.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of that is like I'm in a love-hate relationship with mindfulness exercises, and like part of it is I'm fascinated again by this, you know, the thing I love about the studio is that, you know, it's like it can be like a microscope. It can be, the studio can basically be what you want it to be, but there's still people who kind of treat it like it's this great arbiter of like neutral scientific measurement of sound. And I'm like, no, you know, when you have a microphone, you are pointing it at something that is a performative action.
Yeah.
Like you are doing something with your body to get a result. Like that is a performance of your identity, and a performance at least of like, you know, like your musical identity. So something I'm really interested in when I'm field recording is making it really clear that I'm holding a microphone. I remember reading this thing when I was like, I remember like I would have been 12 or 13. I was reading in National Geographic about this guy who records nature soundtracks. Let's hope that one's still recording. About this guy who records nature sounds in the forest. And he said, you know, I have to record for 20 hours to get just nature sounds for 30 minutes in these days. And I was like, why do you care? Like, why do you care if it's missing, like, if there's like a couple of like cars or you sneeze? Like, why do you give a shit? Like, you're like, it's not real. Like, it's not real if you're like editing it down. It's not a reflection of like what is nature. Like, maybe if our like forest soundtracks had more planes and chainsaws in them, people would be more anxious about global warming. I kind of feel like you know what I mean. Like maybe if
because then it's not even natural at that point.
Maybe if our beach sounds had more sounds of the camera slowly going underwater, maybe people would be more anxious about global warming. Like I you know, these are the things that keep me up at night, folks. So like I love that, and I think that's why my breath's in a lot. My breath and fumble and handling noise. I love handling noise. I love handling noise so much because it's a mistake and it's like unprofessional, and I'm just saying, no, it's me. It is just my body holding a microphone. So yeah, I think that's why breath's in it. Those sort of two sort of things.
That makes sense. Okay, so I think we're out of time, but is there anything last you want to say?
No, I guess just like me on Facey B.
Yay.
I have a tape coming out in August on 3BS Records, which is an amazing record label based out of Australia that you should check out. It's called Diaphragm. It features awesome work by myself, Jonathan Paper, and Sam Aaron Cyrilis, who's an American composer who you should all know. He's great. Oh, so good. But other than that, like, yeah, come see me play. I look forward to seeing all of your beautiful faces in Oakland on the 25th.
You will not regret it.
You won't. It's very cheap. And no. And Christine Richards is playing first, so you can like leave immediately. No.
No.
No. Really, it would be a pleasure.
Make sure to check out Homecoming, though, Dan's debut LP.
Yeah, not the Your Day to Remember album. Check that out too. It's pretty good.
But definitely the new one. I didn't even know you had another one.
Yeah, I do. I have an old EP called California Fragments. It's really cute. In like 2013. And it's I still really love it. Even though it was made by like Baby Me, I'm like, this is really cute. I recorded this with a Zoom in my lounge room, and it's full of creaky piano chairs, and like I did not write for a really long time. I had all these unfinished sketches because my mental health was so poor. But I recorded them.
And
I recorded them and I made something out of them, and it was really, really, like, I'm still really proud of it. I'm still really pround of myself. So yeah, that one's a good one too. Listen to California Fragments.
Just listen to them all.
Listen to them all. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Tidal. Please buy my album on Bandcamp. I'm so poor.
Yeah. Yes, please support the artists that come on here, because I'm poor too, and we're doing this all for free. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. Enough.
Oh, don't throw that out there.
That's just kidding.
YouTube comments, man. Like,
I know.
That's weird. We're all doomed.
We're all
Anyway, it's like 2:30 a.m.
Oh, it's definitely is.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to interacting with all of you.
Yes. And tune in again in August.
Yes.
Thank you for listening.
Point.